Alright, hello and welcome back. This will be the walkthrough and review of my 79 series Land Cruiser for those who are interested. It's a long-term review. It's not just like, oh, I've only just got the car and this is my first impressions or anything. I have had this car since 2016 in August, brand new. It is a pre-DPF model 79 series Land Cruiser GXL. So it does have the diff locks front and rear, and it has a cloth interior. The workmates have a vinyl interior. You can option them with diff locks, but yeah, it just depends on who bought the car brand new, whether it will have that or not. So the first thing we'll do, we'll just do a bit of an outside sort of view of the car and everything like that. I will make note of a few of the things that I have changed on the car and a few of the things that I've added, just briefly, and I'll talk about those more in another video. But so we'll just get into it straight away. So this is the car. It's, yeah, I picked Merlot Red basically because at the time I didn't see many of them around. When it's clean, it looks really good, but I live out on a dirt road, so I don't really get to see it clean very often. So first things first, like some of the notable differences between this and a workmate, you get, you know, chrome grille and, you know, a few other bits and pieces and whatnot, but yeah, there's not huge differences. The big one's probably the lockers, which you can option anyway. Everything that's on the car pretty much is standard Toyota. So like, it's a standard Toyota bar, standard Toyota side rails, rock sliders, all that kind of stuff. It's a Toyota tray on the back there. We'll talk about that when I get there. But so first and foremost, I guess, you know, the big thing with this car that I've found, and the biggest upgrade I had to do to it, and I didn't realize how much of a difference it would make, was this motor is severely detuned from the factory. Like, we're talking, there's a hill near my house and I'd have to, like, just to maintain 80 kilometers an hour, I was basically back down to third gear. So, you know, one of the biggest things that I have done to this car is I did an exhaust clutch tune. And you have to do the clutch. Like, I know some people out there say, oh no, it's all good, you can go without it. Yeah, you probably can, but it's not going to last. It was recommended to me by my tuner and by any other tuner that I spoke to. Shout out to Down Under Diesel Performance, Andrew Chamel. He's a great bloke. He's located in the Sydney region somewhere. He really looked after me and did an absolutely phenomenal job. The car just, it drives so well. So yeah, if you're looking for tunes and stuff like that, he's the guy to go to. So it's got an MPC 1300 Newton meter clutch in it to handle the torque. It makes, I think, about 619 Newton meters of torque at the wheels. And I think it was 149 kilowatt or something like that. It was 150 kilowatts. Really good. But basically the difference is, like, going up a hill now, I can maintain 80 kilometers an hour in fifth gear. In fact, I can even accelerate in fifth gear going up the hill and it's fine. Tow's much better as well. So that's something that I think that Toyota really, I think, regulated by their emission controls with DPFs and EGR valves and all that kind of stuff. They do suffer a lot. For a big lazy V8, though you can get so much more power out of them. You know, obviously, so it's a Toyota front bar. It's got a winch in it. I'll cover off on the actual modifications and stuff later on. But so you've got winch, it's got a couple of lights on it, UHF, all that kind of stuff. Now, one of the first things, the biggest gripe I actually will, or one of the first things or the biggest gripes I will cover off on, is the wheel track at the back. Anyone that has these cars or has looked into buying these cars, you should know, or it's been well documented, that the rear wheel track, I believe, is 50 millimeters narrower on either side. Now, apparently, this is because when they upgraded to the V8, they had to widen the front axle to accommodate the engine, and they just never did with the back. So that is I think one of the biggest problems. Now, myself personally, I haven't found it to be as much of a problem, you know, doing tracks and driving, but it does, you do notice it in ruts particularly, because you can feel the back wanting to slip in and out and whatnot. Sand driving, it can feel a little bit unsettled. But the one that really got me was when I was full flex climbing up something with a wheel lift. I felt like the car was more unstable, because it just felt like that wheel being out that 50 mil more would have just given me a little bit more confidence when it was like full full up in the air. But you know, I haven't got the money to fix that at this point in time. That is definitely a future modification I'd like to do. But you know, there are some cheaper options out there. I'm not going to advocate for any particular option, you know, but you can do wheel spaces, you can do, you know, offset rims and that kind of stuff. I wouldn't recommend doing that personally, you know, but hey, your car, your money, you do what you want to do. I personally would go the full axle replacement, full diff replacement. Like, if you're going to do something, do it properly, you know, spend the money once. There's certain areas where you can save money on a car when you're modifying it, and I'll cover off on that in the modifications video, and we'll talk more about it then. But otherwise, so that's probably the biggest problem with the car initially. The next big one that I think most people need to understand is, everyone goes, oh, these come with a snorkel from the factory. They don't. It's a raised air intake, okay? Even Toyota say this, it's 5 pieces. So you need to go get yourself a proper snorkel. If you're gonna do any kind of water crossings, a proper snorkel is a must. Now, I've got a Safari RMAX snorkel on. I got it done just before I went and got the exhaust and the tune done. It flows so much better, and it's a big one-piece unit, comes down, goes into the stock airbox. Now, stock airbox requires apparently a little bit of modification to do it, but you know, I paid someone to do it just because, you know, to be honest, I'm not hugely technically mechanically minded. I can do basic stuff, but I'm not confident to do something like that on my own. So that's why I paid someone else to do a lot of the work to my car. Just, you know, again, you know, poor man pays twice, they say. So, you know, save your money, get it done properly the first time, right? The next thing I want to cover off on, and this was actually a shock to me because for a brand new car, I really expected more. But the tires on these Land Cruisers from the factory, shit, I'm in the sun here. The tires brand new from the factory are not the greatest. Yeah, I think it was about 25,000 Ks, and they were on the wear markers ready to be changed. So one of the first things I would budget for as well for this car, if you're going to buy one brand new, I don't know if they're still that way. I know there's horrendous wait times to get one of these at the moment, so it's probably not really all that applicable because most people that buy them are already probably going to have changed tires. But I would budget for a good set of tires. Now, I'm running Maxxis Razor mud terrain tires. I've seen a few of my friends running them. I've run a few different tires in the past. Again, I'll talk about tires in a different video in depth, but at the moment there's no point in really covering off on that too much, because I don't want to make the video like 20,000 years old or whatever. So yeah, budget for some tires, because as good as the tires were stock, they had plenty of grip, they did everything fine, but it just did not, unfortunately, they did not last. So this is what the stock tires are. This is still a stock spare. I haven't changed it since I bought it. I've never had a flat, so, you know, touch wood, hopefully, you know, I don't get a flat, but you know, it's just there in case I need it. So the next one is this here. Now, anyone that has a standard tray, and I know that's not going to be very many people, but anyone that has a standard tray or buys one of these with a standard tray, this number plate, you can see these brackets here, this was mounted all the way down here. Now, I have gone through about 4 number plates. And as you can tell, this one is bent too. And that is just a result of full flex off-road, near a bank or near whatever. It just, they mince the number plate. I need to find a solution for that at some point, but I just, again, I haven't had time, and I really don't know where to put it. I'm thinking I'm probably going to end up trying to put it somewhere like in here or whatever, but I don't know how to do it without blocking the spare tire. So we'll, you know, it is what it is. The tray, it's a standard Toyota alloy tray. It's got a TC Boxes canopy on it. I'll show you inside the canopy in the modifications video, which I'll do next. But otherwise, it's a stock tray. I have tray sides at home. They do fit on with the canopy. It's a very snug fit. As you can see, it kind of rubs on the edge of the whale tails here, but you know, it is what it is, you know. So yeah, like, that's pretty much the main things for the outside of the car. You know, I have had very minimal problems with this vehicle. I'll cover off on those a little bit towards the end. But we'll go inside, we'll have a quick look, and I'll cover a couple of little things in here. So the older versions of the Land Cruiser didn't come with cruise control. Now, I think the late 2016s, when they first got the DPFs in them, come with it standard. Mine didn't. I did option it. They managed to get it in, so I do have cruise control on mine. That may not matter for some people. It mattered for me. I do a lot of highway kilometers getting to and from work, so it mattered for me big time. And other than that, I mean, look, it's a basic interior. There isn't much in here to really talk about. You know, the center console's got adequate storage. There's only one cup holder, the famous one cup holder that everyone loves to remind me of. There are so many ways you can get another one. Yes, you shouldn't have to. But you're buying an agricultural vehicle. It's not designed. This vehicle is not designed to be like a city vehicle. It's designed to be out here, out in the middle of the bush and whatnot. Now, yes, I am out on a property. I'm not, you know, like off in the bush camping or whatever, but this is where they're supposed to be, you know. So do you really need a cup holder? Like, I'm the driver, I need a cup holder. My passenger can hold their damn drink as far as I'm concerned. The stereo is abysmal, you know, like there's no other way to word it. It is terrible. You got two speakers, I believe. It's like, you know, you just got one on either side of the dash. It plays music and you can play podcasts. I can hear stuff. It's fine. I don't mind. Rear leg room. Now, I'm just shy of about 6 foot tall. Rear leg room is, look, honestly, if I get up in here with my seat in my driving position, it ain't comfortable. Like, I mean, look, if you got to drive for a long period of time, you're not going to be comfortable. If you're going down the shops or you got kids or something, yeah, you're probably going to be all right. So, can you be used as a family car? Yeah. The other problem is this backrest. It's right against the wall. You can't, like, I'm severely upright. I couldn't imagine trying to sleep in here. The headroom is fine. There's plenty of headroom. Don't have to worry about that. But otherwise, the interior is very basic. You know, your gauges are just like, you know, RPM, volts, temperature, you know, oil pressure and a few other things. It's fine, you know. Basic glove box, you know, like there's not a lot to really talk about in here. So what we'll do is I'll talk to you about a couple of the small problems I have had with the vehicle since I've owned it. You know, then that'll pretty much be the end of the video. So the couple of small problems I have had, I had a set of wheel bearings basically foul up or whatever when I think it was at about 40,000 Ks. They were showing, as the dealer said, they said it was showing signs of premature wear. Now, they replaced these completely under warranty. I didn't have to pay a damn thing for them. They just replaced them, and I haven't had a problem since. So I don't know whether, you know, a bit of water ingress or something like that got in there and it just sort of started wearing out components. But for whatever reason, you know, whether they weren't seated properly when they first put them in or whatever, I don't know. But I had to replace a set of wheel bearings at about 40,000 kilometers. This is why I would say that it's very important to make sure you get logbook services. Yes, it's called preventative maintenance. So a lot of what you're doing to the car is just checking components and trying to catch them before you have a major failure. And I can tell you here and now, I'd much rather pay an extra $50, $100 or whatever now at a service and make sure that, you know, my wheel bearings are all good than have a wheel fly off down the road, you know. And I mean, usually that's wheel studs, but I mean, if you get play in your wheel bearings and it freaking puts more pressure on the studs, or if you're running offset rims and it puts more pressure on the studs, that's a very real possibility. And you can wear those components out quicker. So bigger tires and stuff, you can wear those components out quicker, you know. Usually wheel bearings will last a long time, but I mean, they're not an expensive part to replace realistically, you know. So just please, for the love of God, just get them done. You know, like you change the grease out on them, you give them a good check out and make sure it's all good, and you know, you're not going to have any problems. The next thing I had a problem with was the cruise control itself. Now, the cruise control itself, the stalk itself, it wouldn't activate cruise control. Again, completely replaced under warranty, didn't have a problem with that. brought it in, they looked at it, it didn't work properly, they got a new stalk in, replaced it, it was fine. I've had some electrical issues with this car. Now, it's almost all been on the aftermarket wiring for like my lights and stuff like that, so you can't really hold the car at fault for that. That's because the people that installed my first set of wiring didn't do as professional a job as they could have. I'm not going to name people or anything like that, because at the end of the day it was my fault. I supplied all the parts, I didn't have the knowledge, and they just installed what I gave them. So that's not on them, that's on me. I had to get it all rewired, put new lights on, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But it pays to make sure that when you go and get anything wired up on your car, go and talk to a qualified auto electrician. You know, again, they say the poor man pays twice. I paid twice. I'm happy to admit it. Shit happens, you know. I've learned my lesson. I make sure I get everything done properly now. The other one, or the only other major sort of like problems I've had with this vehicle is the number plate, as we've discussed. I've had my blinkers go, but this is because off-road, I don't know how or what, but there was some kind of short in the wiring for the tray. They suspected like a stick came up or hit it or something like that. So that was just, again, went to an auto electrician, they fixed it up. At the moment I've only got one number plate light, so I need to take it back to the auto electrician. He needs to have a look at it. I've replaced the bulb and it's still not working, so there's definitely something going on there. Some damage to a wire or something like that. It'll be something pretty simple, I imagine, but it's not really causing any major problems, so I just haven't done it yet. I've been a bit pressed for time, as I was saying before, so that's pretty much my walkthrough of it. The last real big negative I'd have for this car is the turning circle. It has a horrendous turning circle. I drive trucks for a living, it doesn't bother me. It can make it hard to get it in and out of car parks and stuff like that, but look, it is what it is. You know, you don't buy one of these cars and expect it to necessarily turn real good. You know, you don't buy one of these cars and expect it to be the most comfortable. Like I said before, they're an agricultural vehicle. They're designed to be out on farms and that kind of thing. They're a really good base for people to build off of. That's why they're so popular. So look, you know, it's up to you. Like, I'm just trying to give you an insight of what it's like to own it. You know, they're shit on fuel. You know, like, I mean, I think I'm lucky if I get 15 litres per 100 at the current price of like $2.30 for diesel. It's bloody expensive to run. You know, insurance for me is like $260 a month, but I've got the top tier insurance and, like, you know, windscreen replacement, courtesy car, all that kind of stuff, because this is my only vehicle. So, you know, I need to have those things because I have to have a car for work. I can't afford to just, you know, not have a car for work if something happens to it. So look, you know, they're an expensive car. You know, you got to look past just what the purchase price of the vehicle is. You know, maintenance costs, I've had bills up to like $1,200, $1,300 for major services. You know, like whether you got to do some extra stuff like brakes and that kind of stuff. Typical service is about, I think, $350, $400. You know, like that's just to go in, get the oil changed, get everything checked over and whatever else. Yeah, it's expensive, but I love my car and I don't have any plans on selling it or getting rid of it. I want everyone out there to know, you know, like what's involved with one of these, because, you know, there's a lot of people, like I got caught out big time because like I bought it and I was like, oh yeah, it'll be fine, it's Toyota, it's not going to be expensive. It caught me out, and like I struggled for a lot of years to you know, keep the car and everything, and I started questioning myself as to whether I made the right decision. So hopefully that can help you if in your decision of whether you want to buy the car or not. But it's there for you to do it. Hopefully it's been helpful. I'm going to try and do a lot more videos sort of like this, where it just talks about the car and the mods and you know, answer any questions. So if you do have questions, pop them in the comments section. I'll try and answer them the best I can. If I don't know something, I will try and look it up for you and figure it out, but you know, I can't promise you anything. You know, I'm by no means an expert, you know. So anyway, if you have watched for this long, thank you. If you do find this helpful and you want to, you know, be notified when I do post more videos, just hit the like and subscribe button. You know, it's up to you. I don't care. Like, I'm doing this just purely for educational purposes. All right, thanks guys. I will see you in the next one.